Welcome to the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast,
where we talk all about Turner Syndrome.
I'm Brooke.
I'm Andrea.
Now let's hop
into today's episode.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast. My name is Brooke.
And I'm Andrea.
And we're going to talk about Turner Syndrome, as always.
Yes.
So, this week, we just finished up Awareness Month, but my end to Awareness Month was the first screening in the winter screening series I'm doing of 3 different dates where we're screening the film Like a Butterfly. And the first one happened on the last day of Awareness Month, and it was really fun. So that was kind of how my Awareness Month ended. I know we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but how was the rest of your Awareness Month?
Yeah, so it was pretty good. But I would say, you doing the screening was pretty exciting. I think that's a great way to celebrate Awareness Month and to wrap it up. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was definitely a busy month, that's for sure, because there's also a lot of birthdays and celebrations in that. Um, but yeah, there is one um coworker who has, like, because I've gotten to talk to her a little bit about Turner syndrome and having Turner syndrome, that actually has a friend whose daughter has it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so found that out, which I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, that could be a chance to plug her in, also for some medical care and doctors that I know that, are familiar with TS. So, can get her plugged in and connected with a community. But yeah, I thought that was cool. It's always nice to get to meet somebody that has a connection. So that did happen. That was cool. And um, so yeah. It was a good month, but yeah, it was very busy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fun. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Busy is a very good word to describe the month of February.
Yes.
A very good word. Um, all with good things, just a lot. And it did feel really fitting. Like, I feel like I was kind of mentally being prepared all month for the film screening by the time we got to it, because the whole month of pushing, and then it culminates in on the last day of the month doing the film screening. And that was amazing. I think um I think I left this awareness month like even more. I mean, I'm always passionate about it. Like, you start me talking about Turner syndrome, be careful because I can go on forever. But I was just, I guess, really, really invigorated by it. Like, I was even more energized with, this is really important work. Like, this really does matter. This needs to happen. And I guess kind of emboldened almost. Like, I don't know, not that I'm ever shy about it, but so it was really good. It was really fun. The whole idea of the screenings is we watch the film, and then there's some time after to actually talk about it, like talk about the stories in the film, talk about what it brought up, all of that. And um yeah, kind of have an actual discussion around it instead of just watching the film and that being all. um so it's really great. If you haven't seen the film, because it's been available on my website for, oh gosh, January was a year. So it's been available there for that long. But if you haven't watched it, The screenings, because of the conversation part, is a really fun way to do that. Um, and I can share the information for it. I can put links and everything. The next date is March 14th. And then the last date is March 21st. So those are the next two. And
Yay.
yeah. So there's two more chances if you want to. Um, so the film itself, the whole point of it is to raise awareness, but it also, I feel like there's almost two halves to the film. There's one element of it that is raising awareness, and like literally, if somebody that never heard the word Turner syndrome before hears them, I did my job. Then there's the other part of it that is kind of speaking and reaching out to those of us that have it. And lots of encouragement, lots of good information, and real life stories. Like, not what the statistics say, but how this actually is walked out by people. And that's what's amazing about it. That's my favorite part, is it's putting the medical information presented by the doctor that I was able to interview, who is incredible, um, next to people actually living with it. I love that fact about it. So, what would you say?
Yeah,
Because your story's in the film. What would you say is the biggest way the film hits you?
I would say um, just connecting, I think, um, all of our stories together, I think is how you do it, I think is awesome. And I think that um, if you're getting to watch it and see it, you can feel connected to a group of women who may have different stories, but I think you can just put it in a way that then you can relate, because there's always going to be something in the stories that you connect with,
Yeah,
that you can see a little bit of yourself and your experience, and just you don't feel like you're just on an island and nobody understands.
yeah,
And um we're all part of this story. We have our individual stories, but we're all part of this and part of it together. So um when you bring it all together, it makes it more powerful
yeah,
when you include all of our voices and stories, and from different perspectives,
yeah,
which I think is very awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I really, it mattered to me for it to not just be my story, because just my story, any of our stories on its own, it, Turner syndrome being so unique, it no one Turner syndrome story can tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted, in fact, I probably would have had more if I could have, more stories shared in it also. I think it was six, six stories besides mine. I want to say it was six other stories. So, I mean, I think that's kind of the whole point of why I even started talking to others, was like there is so many different stories, and all of these have things that need to be heard.
Yeah.
And even still, I was talking about it with somebody the other day. Medical professionals still have so much work in that to do also. So I think that's why it feels so important to me, is like it's not as simple as, oh, we want more people to know what this is, get more attention on it. It's there's legitimate, actual, like significant need for research, for care guidelines, for older patients with Turner syndrome, um, for more and better understanding, even within the medical community. All of that greatly impacts the care that you get. So it goes beyond just, oh, yeah, the other person understanding is nice.
Yeah.
It's so far beyond that, the work that needs to be done for Turners,
Yeah.
that just makes me remember and really feel even more passionate about the whole reason I wanted the film to happen in the first place. I thought of the film because I was watching this documentary um by this woman with chronic fatigue syndrome. And she basically started documenting her journey and goes all the way through like several years of dealing with it, of it progressing and getting worse, of having ups and downs with it, of trying to figure things out with it. And it was really powerful. And at the end, I was like, oh, someone should do that for Turner syndrome.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, I could do that for Turner syndrome. Why couldn't I? I have cameras. I have people I can talk to, like, why not? And that was the whole, like, it went from that, a Turner syndrome documentary like that should exist, to I want to do it. So it, yeah, it was something that I'm just so, I'm really proud of and I'm really happy with. And um so it was a really fun way to end Awareness Month sharing it. And I get to keep continuing it because that wasn't the last one. So the conversation doesn't end.
Yeah. That's just the start.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
No, I am so excited that you did it and that you took it on, because I know that there is parts of it that were not easy and logistical things, and uh, but yes, you did a great job. So you should be proud. It's awesome.
thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm just really excited because um I think there's so much potential, especially with some of the work I've been seeing from like Turner Syndrome Foundation, TSUS. There's so much potential to just help embolden that and grow it and make an even bigger impact.
Yeah.
And that's
You know,
really
it would be
exciting.
great to get to see it as part of a conference, get to
That would
have
be
like,
amazing.
a screening during a conference.
Yeah.
That would be really cool too.
That would be amazing. That would be
Hmm.
super exciting. I would love
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So, and that's, it's also just really fun because I saw in the Facebook groups the other day somebody was like, "Okay, I know there's not an actual Turner syndrome movie, but what movie do you think describes?" And I'm like, "Hold on a minute, because I made a Turner syndrome movie." Because I wanted, like, I felt the same way. I wanted to be able to say there was one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Um, okay, so I have been really excited to see people's reactions to things all Awareness Month. Like it was really fun seeing people get excited about sharing stuff and having these conversations. And I I really felt like I learned a lot too. So in the first screening, one of the comments after watching the film was that your story, Andrea, because you share your story in the film, really struck them and it validated their fears, or it made their fears feel validated. And it was a really big moment that struck me, that response, because it wasn't something I was anticipating. But when I heard it, it made total sense. It made a lot of sense in the, yeah, because sometimes we feel like we're being paranoid when really there's a whole lot that goes on that is not just not fun, but that's not comforting feeling, you know? And to not feel alone in that thought pattern of like, yeah, there is so much to take seriously. And you're not being paranoid by taking it seriously. Um, I would love to hear your thoughts on that reaction.
So, couple thoughts. I guess my first initial thought too was, getting to share my story and have it be a part of your movie, which is a huge honor. And that was so exciting. And for, my story to like strike somebody and really speak to them is also like really just, it's exciting to hear that. Um, I don't know exactly what I said specifically that might have validated their fear, but I would say that, as far as like validating, I'm glad that I was able to like my story help validate somebody else's experience because um, you know, sometimes I guess, it's like you do feel like I have at times felt like I'm like it's just I'm alone in dealing with this, or maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe I shouldn't be as worried about it.
Yeah.
But I've seen from personal experience what can happen also if I don't take it serious.
Yeah.
Whether it's things that have happened to myself or you know, um, happened to other friends of ours and people that we know that have had TS. I mean, there's been several, even recently in the TS community, that have um, even passed because of complications from things that they've
Yeah.
dealt with in relation to having Turner syndrome. And so it can be one of those things. And truly, when I initially found out about my congenital heart defect, it was one of the scariest things, and I had to face it alone. I wasn't alone, but I was alone. I was going by myself to, get a cardiac screen that I thought was going to be fairly routine. And I thought, hey, I'm just going to be um, a diligent, you know, um, person and take care of myself and be like, hey, I'm just gonna, I have an opportunity to get like a free echocardiogram. Why not take advantage of that? And, everything should be good, but I should know, right? And I wasn't thinking I was going to have, you know, uh, the fact that I had two congenital heart defects dropped on me. Um, And so I wasn't expecting that, but I'm, on the exam table. And, if you've ever gotten one of those echocardiograms or an exam and the technician is doing that and they get this look on their face and they go very quiet, usually what follows is not something you're going to want to hear. And
Yeah.
often they can't tell you themselves. The doctor has to read it and the doctor has to tell you. So they
Yeah.
can't say anything, but the look on their face and the silence, it's one of the hardest, most difficult things. Um, and I was away from home. My friends were elsewhere, and I was there by myself, and I felt alone at that moment. And I was trying to not get scared, but I couldn't help it. I got scared because all of a sudden, you go from thinking, hey, everything's been fine. Everything I knew that I thought I knew about what I dealt with as far as TS was concerned. I didn't have up until that point anything major impact me because of Turner's.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to be fairly healthy and not have many complications. But no one ever did the cardiac exam. No one ever got any kind of a baseline or idea if anything was happening with my heart. And that should have happened, and it didn't,
Yeah.
and never did. But there was never also any indication to any of my doctors that there was any issue.
Yeah.
And so I went through childhood, my teenage years, and becoming a fully formed adult, going through college, graduated college, all this, young adult, and then I find out, oh, I have not one but two congenital heart defects. And it felt like an anvil just dropped right on my chest. And what I thought I knew changed in that moment. And all of a sudden, I went from somebody that didn't have any cardiac issues to having two congenital heart defects, and now I have heart disease. And, it's a huge it was a huge mind shift trying to wrap my head around this and going, how did no one ever pick this up?
Yeah.
But, that's the tricky thing with heart things. Like, I never, other than dealing with high blood pressure, I never had any other major symptoms. But I had doctors that were familiar enough with Turner syndrome. I had a endocrinologist from Houston, Texas, who worked with patients with TS, was one of the leading endocrinologists at the Houston, Texas Children's Hospital, um, where a lot of research was done.
Yeah.
And I should have been checked. Um, and that's one of the things, on a side note, why, your movie is so important, as well as the what you were saying about, like, people getting good medical care and
Yeah.
people knowing, because that should be a thing.
Yeah.
When you get a diagnosis of that, like, that should be included in making sure that, a cardiac exam is done and those things get caught, because, you know, uh, that has been a cause of a lot of problems and
Yeah.
a lot of loss in the TS community for young women who, even before turning 40, have lost their lives because of cardiac issues.
Yeah.
And, that's just one thing, but that's definitely a thing that affected me. But that's just one thing. But that's why it should be taken so seriously.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that comment too matters, because, I don't want to be someone that lives necessarily in fear, but a little bit is healthy.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think there's anything wrong in having a healthy level of fear and taking it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
a fine balance to walk between the two. You don't want to be paranoid. You don't want to be, like living in constant dread or fear, having this weigh on you. But at the same time, you want to do your due diligence.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, right now we know if we don't, who will?
Yeah.
Because yes, there's more that's known, and doctors, you can get better care and stuff, but I mean, even today, if you don't advocate for yourself, then who will? And
Yes. Yeah.
so, having a little bit of that, I think, is valid,
Yeah.
because we should be taking it seriously. We should be advocating for ourselves. We should, you know, um, and not feel like um it's just us, or that we're just paranoid. I think I think it is important to take it seriously, um to enough that you're advocating for yourself, and you're doing what you need to do to keep, to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Well, and that you're not alone in having those feelings.
Right.
We're all going through moments of feeling afraid of the different things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
Seeing the posts in the Facebook groups about another woman who has passed away is really hard. And
Yeah.
I know it can feel weird and complicated because you're like, I don't I don't even know, like, I'm not connected to that person, but you are, in the sense that you have a very significant genetic condition in similarity with them that was directly connected to what happened in most of the cases. Like, if it's a case where that's connected to Turner's, then that's why it would be posted in the group. If it was some other cause, then it wouldn't be. So having that go, oh, gosh, that just makes me think of how much is a possibility for me is completely normal. And we all have those reactions.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
I've had echoes regularly since I was, oh gosh, 12 or 13, and at least 12 or 13. And I never don't have that moment still of waiting to get the results and know, okay, this time it still looks good and nothing's
Yep.
changed.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's ever going to go away, really.
I don't know either. And I don't think it probably will. And I can't help but think that when I hear of um another TS sister passing, um especially if it's cardiac related, but you know when you share a genetic condition, you do like feel this connection because you can understand sort of the gravity and the weight. Somebody that shares, or somebody that of shares this condition, and it just um it's a mix of, like, for me, I've had like a little bit of survivor's guilt sometimes, because it's like I'm grateful to be able to, you know, be here you know, to speak and advocate and share my story and my experiences. But at the same time, it's really s- sad, and it's frustrating when you hear somebody with TS lose their life, and it's just like, when is there going to be the attention to Turner's that it deserves? When does, and some in the medical community do, like, but when do you take that seriously? When does that get the attention that other conditions get, and the awareness that other conditions get? And it's just, it's like, it's frustrating because it's like, okay, one more person, and um we don't have near the support as other conditions do. And we have to do a lot of the advocating ourselves. And sometimes it
Yeah.
gets tiring,
It's exhausting.
and it's exhausting. Exactly. And so, it, you know, and I'll say this too, kind of going back on TS Awareness Month, but thinking about, I don't know if you saw this, but Melissa Joan Hart. That's why I'm excited for people to, like, that actually
Yes.
do call something to it, like Melissa Joan Hart did.
Yes.
And so that was super exciting. Um,
I have loved her since Clarissa days.
oh my
And
gosh, yes,
I was so excited
yes.
when I saw her post. I was like, oh my gosh.
I did a little fangirl scream. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
I actually did. I was like,
me too.
um, I was so excited. But yeah, I've been a
Clarissa
fan of
and
her for a
Sabrina
long time.
knows what Turner syndrome is.
Yes,
I was
yes.
so
I'm like, oh
excited.
my gosh.
She
But
does a
yeah,
lot of good work like that though. Like she loves to post. She'll find out what the rare condition awareness month for that month is. She does that a lot, which I think is really cool.
yes, I've noticed that, and I think that that's awesome. So, I so appreciate that she does that.
Yeah.
And so that was so exciting when I saw her post about that. I'm like, yes. Um, but it's there's just a lot of work that needs to be done, and it can be exhausting, and it can be um yeah, it can be difficult, and um so I think that sometimes it's just, you know, valid to feel that. And um I know also, because there is some of the girls recently, um that I know that we lost, and I, with having had a heart attack um last year, I came really close to not making it. And um just to be here is completely an act of God. And um I keep thinking, like, how do I get to be here? And we just lost another girl with Turner syndrome. How do I get to be the one? And I'm thankful, but at the same time I'm like, why why is she not here? Why did we lose her? You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
um because that's not fair.
No.
And so I think, like I said in another episode when I was talking about it, um that's why I got to use my mouth. Because I'm like, so I guess I got to be the one to use my mouth and my loud voice, and um you know say something. um but I am glad to be here. But it it brought a reality that, even more so than when I first found out about my congenital heart defects, that,
Oh yeah.
like, it is something to take seriously.
Yeah. I mean,
You know.
you know, I think a big thing I've come out of this awareness month with, and I don't know if I would have felt this way at this point anyways or not, or it's just how awareness month is hitting me this year, but I have been lately just so struck by how many stories I'm seeing of this person didn't know anything about it. This doctor had no idea. Like so much of the lacking. And
Mhm.
the thing that I can do is, like you said, use my mouth. I can tell my story. I can help share others' stories. I can try to get the word out. I can tell what's needed and do that work as best as I can. And I think the best thing that I can do for those that aren't here anymore, those that haven't made it, like the babies that didn't make it to birth, the best thing that I can do to honor them and use the fact that I am here is to do this work, is to use the story that God gave me to make a difference. And that is why I feel like telling these stories, sharing these stories, having the film, having the podcast, giving this attention to it is so needed and important. And I was even more fired up to like never stop.
Yes. And I think that's, one of the great things that um, comes from you making the movie because you had that thought of, well, I can do that. It came across, well, we have this need, I can do that, and you
Yeah.
made it happen. And that's the building block onto something that that can be really powerful and meaningful and spreading awareness for not just the TS community, but for people to understand,
Yeah.
um, the medical stuff and to hear the stories from people who live day to day with it
Yeah.
because they also want to make it cookie cutter. Like
Yes.
not not all of not everything about Turners is cookie cutter.
No, we
And
don't
not
all fit
every
in the
Turner
same
syndrome
box.
female is cookie cutter.
No, we can't all fit in that same box that the statistics try to squish us in. And that's what I hope
Yeah.
the stories counteract.
Yeah.
Like this is not something you can neatly put in a box. And
No,
not only does it not fit, but you're missing on crucial elements when you do that.
exactly. Exactly.
So,
And so I think that's, such a value um and important thing about your movie. And so and sharing the stories. So, yeah. I I think it's great. And I think it's just the start.
oh yeah, I am nowhere near done.
Yeah. No.
Nowhere near done.
Yeah.
Not even close. I have I mean, I have such a love for the the medium of film as it is. And
Yeah.
so to marry the two and like have the ability to do this work through that happen is probably my dream scenario.
Yeah. Well, and you have a great eye too. I mean, you can tell through your vlogs and stuff that you've done and you do. You have a great eye in telling a story. So,
Thank you.
yes. 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 So, very, very excited. So, definitely encourage if you haven't got a chance to do a screening or see Brooke's movie, to check it out and join for one of the last screenings
Yeah,
coming.
I'll put the link in the description if anybody wants to join for it. Um, I'll make sure the information is in the description. It's March 14th and 21st is the next one, so they're coming up.
Yay!
And yeah, is there any other thoughts, any final thoughts that you want to share?
Well, I would just say that we do continue to like share your story, like to hear your stories and
Yeah.
share your stories. So, we're always open to that and um, you know, even possibly if you want to share your story with us on the podcast, um joining us for that. So,
Yes. Yeah.
yes.
Send us a message, let us know. We would love
Yeah.
to have anybody that wants to share their story on
Yeah.
and keep doing the good work of getting your story out there.
Yes. Yes. And, definitely, um, I hope that, if you've thought about sharing your story, that you feel encouraged to share your story. Um,
Yes.
you know, uh, and that each story matters.
Yes.
Your experience matters. And, um, don't be, um, afraid to share it. I know it's not always easy, but um, definitely when we all, you know, use use our voices and share our stories, the more we'll be able to do to help bring awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it can feel like, oh, well, I don't know if I have that much in my story, but there will be somebody who
Yeah.
hears something in your story that goes, oh my gosh, me too. And I've never heard somebody say that before. And that
Yes.
moment right there makes it worth it.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining us for another episode. We hope everybody had a wonderful awareness month. If you had something that happened that you were really excited about, let us know, leave a comment, send a message. And yeah, let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah. And if you've gotten to see Brooke's movie, let us know what your thoughts are, and feel free to share those because I know I would love to hear what you think about it too. So
Yes. Yeah, that would be fun.
yeah.
All right. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Yep. We'll talk to you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
The Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast is a Butterfly Entertainment production. You can keep up with the Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast on Instagram at Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast. You can keep up with all of Butterfly Entertainment's podcasts, YouTube videos, films, and other projects on our Instagram page. We are at Butterfly Entertainment Group. Thanks for listening.